What is my vision of a strong transitional year residency? I think it's important that our program lay a very strong clinical foundation for residents that are pursuing advanced PGY2 positions. So that's things like anesthesia, physical medicine and rehabilitation, radiology, and many more. We do this by mandating certain clinical rotations. That's general internal medicine, family medicine, emergency medicine, and then we pair that with a lot of elective opportunities. We have more than 10 elective options to choose from so that each intern can really tailor their year to what suits their interest. I would say it's incredibly important for these interns to be ready for PGY2 year. You might come into this saying, well, who needs a TY year? It's just vacation, right? I'm going into radiology. But when you're looking at that CTPE scan as a radiologist, you want to understand the clinical background of what you're looking at. You want to identify with the patient and the symptoms they're presenting with and be able to correlate it with the picture that you're reading. So getting really strong clinical foundation in your TY year is going to make you a better radiologist, a better physiatrist, a better anesthesiologist. This year will really set you up for success. That's definitely a huge strength of our program, is that we have the mentorship, we have the teachers. We actually have a vigorous interview process here where the hospice teaching faculty, we interviewed many of them and we selected a core group of physicians that we feel are really strong leaders and really incredible teachers. They'll be able to teach on rounds and really be able to apply some of the education to the patient at the bedside. And that is going to be really helpful in cementing medical knowledge and remembering kind of those clinical pearls. Work-life balance is extremely important here at Ascension, Wisconsin. It's not only important for resident well-being, but it's really important to create these sustaining, efficient physicians long-term. Yes, your ward months will be very rigorous, but we are very proud that we stay well within the guidelines of the ACGME duty hours. Some other things we do that we're really proud of. So we have a mid-year retreat that the class representatives organize, and that is fully funded. We provide coverage as well. It's one day, and you guys can go out as a class and really bond together. We all know that you have a life outside of residency. You have vacations and you have weddings that you need to attend. So we do our absolute best to honor your vacation requests throughout the year. We'll make sure that you're on an elective at the time that you have that wedding to go to so that you can take off if needed. These are just a few of the many things we try to do to make so that you can live your life during residency. And we really value that. What does Milwaukee have to offer? So I am East Coast born and raised, and I loved living near the Atlantic Ocean. But now that I live in Milwaukee, I think for me, my favorite thing is the lakefront, because that's always been important to me. And we do have beaches here. So we have Bradford Beach and Atwater Beach, and you can actually go swimming in Lake Michigan, and it's really fun and vibrant. The other thing people love about Milwaukee is the festivals. I'm partial to Irish Fest, but most people will flock here for Summerfest, and we have some really big artists that come by, and it's definitely a fan favorite. The restaurant culture is wonderful. We have all of the big city items, the sports teams, we have a big airport, but it's got the smaller city vibes, less congestion, not as pricey as some of the bigger cities out there. So overall, it's a really great place to live for anyone, and especially if you have a family, just given the affordability. We always have a really tight-knit group of transitional year interns, and most of that is just organic. But there are some things that we do to really facilitate that bonding. Even just the first week that you're here, the first day of orientation, we take everyone out for drinks at a beer garden and food, and everyone is encouraged to bring their family. The mid-year retreat that we have every year that's organized by the class representatives. Even just things like noon conferences, trying to get 1 or 2 of those catered a week so that you guys can have lunch together, learn something educational. Those are some things that we do to help the class bond. And like I talked about, there's so much fun to be had in Milwaukee, and you will have your weekends off during electives, during ambulatory month. So it's great that you'll have people that you can get together with and explore the area. My journey to being the program director. So I finished residency and I took an academic hospice job in good old Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I started at St. Joseph Hospital, and I loved it. And my favorite thing about my position there was teaching, working with students, working with the interns, working with residents. I realized that that was my passion, and I wanted to be involved in graduate medical education. So I got the opportunity first to be the associate program director for this program. And that's I really got my feet wet. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about ACGME. And so a couple years after doing that, I have now assumed the role of program director for the last couple of months. It's so far been incredibly rewarding, and I'm really happy to be here.